chuckle nuts.
Hi, I'm Jacob, and today I'm going to be making a video sort of reviewing, but not in like the sense of like my thoughts on the album and a grade at the end, but more so just like going through the album, finding what I like about the album, and just talking about the album itself as well. And I've been a fan of Hi, I'm Chris for about a year now. Whenever I heard his single he made with Nothing But Lag and Frank Jeffsey, Jinbei. And but I'm just gonna be talking about the album and what I like about it. I have strep throat right now. I'm a little sick, so I'm gonna try to have the mic close and just kind of talk a little bit quieter than in my last video. But this album helped me get through the lockdown a lot. It's something new, interesting I could listen to, and I ended up liking Hi, I'm Chris through this album a lot. I'm getting a little bit of the information from the Genius annotations and stuff like that, and like the transcribing the sacred scrolls of Genius on this page. And Chris himself talks about how not a lot of people can understand his accent sometimes, so not everything in that is going to be 100% accurate. I hope that's not messing up the audio any, but it definitely is. But how it's definitely going to affect the video in some way, where Chris meant something, but it was typed out as something else. And so there might be a few errors in that way, in that sense, in the video.
My mom became a martyr. My dad made automotive business deals. Stood the angels in the seventh circle of hell. Infernal followed us through the turmoil, but my fam handled it to give the life my brother deserved so well. Something like that. Cold nights under blue lights in hospital wards.
The opening track starts with an intro of Chris telling what he wants in an album that he's gonna make, where he's talking about more so just the idea of him enjoying an overarching narrative in an album. The track then leads into Chris describing the situation with his family and how they've handled his brother's condition. He's proud of how he's done the best to give them the life he deserves, and despite of all the hardships they've had to go through, they decided to have another child, and that he feels he's very lucky to have that, and that he wants to do his best to help them through the whole situation and to make them proud through his music. The track then closes with a line that you'll hear kind of repeated throughout the album, sort of just like bringing back to this moment of how he just wants to keep his family proud of him and to help them.
Breathe, please, and be free of the shackles of boxes and wires you're tied to, my baby. Shackles of boxes and wires you're tied to, my baby. Whoa, mama, whoa, girl, can you take it slow? Like, I ain't even had my coffee yet. There's a reason I'm hiding by the microwave, and it ain't so we could have some time well spent. I mean, baby.
The track starts off with Chris talking about how awkward it can be talking to people at the parties, with the lines such as catching up with people I caught up with last week. The whole track sort of conveys this feeling of like, I really don't want to be here right now, but I have nothing else to do. And this chick basically following him around, and him hiding by the microwave and going outside to smoke, while he's constantly bringing up the fact that he hasn't had any coffee yet. The track then slows down, and there's a voice clip of someone telling Chris that she seemed nice and that he should probably have talked to her. I couldn't find like a lot to say about the track personally. I think it's just a good way to build up the next track, which I feel like in this situation, this track was just sort of building up into that one, which let's get into.
I've been running so long, so long, so long.
This song to me seems to be about the struggles of ending a relationship and of being afraid that you'll turn around and and they'll just be right there behind you trying to catch up to you when you want to move on. He talks about how he feels like there's 1,000 eyes fixed on all the time he's wasted with this person, about the situation of the hunter becoming the hunted when a lion cub sleeps with the wolf in sheep's clothes. Oh no, lamb's clothes. Sorry. Talking about how the person he was with manipulated him and how he's perpetually running from the option that she might catch up to him while he thinks what he's running from is long gone. To me, it sounds like he's running from a problem that in reality probably isn't even there to begin with. They've probably moved on themselves, and he's just thinking that he has to keep moving or else he's got to be right back where he started. He later then talks about getting into the prospect of another relationship with lines like, I don't want to hurt my heart too soon, so I'm working on my cardio. Talking about kind of bettering himself and getting prepared for another relationship. This track ends with what seems to be a friend telling him that that's not all you wanted to say to her, is it? Implying that there's more that he's holding back, whether it's his own guilt or something else.
Made specifically for you. Oh, and I left you at a Starbucks by the beach. There's mocha in my bloodstream now, eyes tight with caffeine.
This is another song with the theme of a lost love. Instead of Chris himself leaving or trying to avoid interaction altogether with someone, Chris is reminiscing a point in time where someone has left him and him confronting them about it all. In the intro, he describes how this track is his favorite song he's made, which is something that he explores a few times in the album, sort of coming to terms with how he likes producing music and then he thinks he's getting better at it. He then describes the situation of leaving this person at a Starbucks and all the caffeine in his system, possibly a link to the song Caffeine and how, he's got his coffee, And then in the line, you tried to swim when the coast was clear, describing how this person tried to leave right from underneath his nose without him noticing. He then describes how he's learning to love and to love to let go, probably describing how he's, again, trying to grow as a person and learn from these experiences. Then the track sort of slows down, switches up a little bit, and he begins to repeat this line.
Baby, breathe, please, and be free of the shackles of boxes and wires you're tied to, my baby. Oh, of the shackles of boxes and wires. Fuck it!
The song then switches again to sort of have more of an aggressive approach where he kind of is relentless on and how he's not going to just forgive and forget about this experience. The track then ends with another interlude of a voice clip where someone apologizes for bringing it up and abruptly ends the conversation, possibly showing that this is how he feels when someone brings up the topic of this person leaving him.
You see, it doesn't add up, no. The time ain't right, no. You see, I did the math twice. Zero be with me by the end of the night. By the end of the night, I'm divided.
This track is about Chris's relationships with his friends and what kind of a person he wants to see himself as, with lines where he talks about the person on this LCD screen being a pretty cool dude, sort of describing how he has an idea of what he could be in his head. Throughout the song, he uses watch and math metaphors to convey his situation, with lines such as, The clock's got 12 points, watch it wind, watch mine disappear. Talking about his friends disappearing in front of him. I like a lot of the wordplay Chris uses in a lot of the song. I think it's just really neat. The chorus is talking about a point in Chris's life where he feels like he has no friends. With lines such as, "Oh no, the time ain't right. You see, I did the math twice, 0 be who with me. By the end of the night." Sort of just describing how he feels like he has no one there with him. He later then talks about how he feels he has no one to count on now that they're all gone, and reminisces on how he hasn't been the best friend to them, and isn't exactly sure why they left him, considering he thinks all of his bad traits aren't important in the scheme of things. In the next line, Chris realizes that even though his friends are avoiding him to a certain degree, that they are still his friends and they enjoy his company, and he is now upset with how he's treated them. The song then closes with another conversation piece where someone tells Chris to calm down and that they wouldn't abandon him for shit, either telling the listener that this is how Chris sees how his friends sort of act towards him, or this is just how Chris's friends treat him, where they let him know that they wouldn't abandon him, or that this is Chris trying to convey that he feels like his friends hate him deep down, but they won't outright tell him how they feel.
I am one with my crew, posted up, sorry dude. You do what's wrong with food, no seat at my table, boo. Yeah, quick check, rolling, liquor flowing.
Chris then conveys in this track that this is the stage of the story where he realizes that he has people he can rely on. This is kind of referred to the listener by lines such as, "Got friends, fuck Royces. If in the books of myths you do not find my name, I know that's okay." Meaning sort of that no matter what happens in the long scheme of things with his music career or just things in general, that he knows he has friends to rely on and that he can think fondly of the times that he spent with them. The second leg of the song kind of switches up to a slower pace where he describes the environment he grew up in Jersey, with lines such as rolling in the north side of the 973 where the townies thought their hood and the meth heads tweaked, and how him and his friend circle sort of dealt with that situation at the time, with lines such as, "Wouldn't say we're cool, but we're keeping it G. At least when you're talking to me, hard to believe that I'm rolling through the pines with some savages and thieves." I'm sorry. And the potential of the group with inserting lines such as, "We're trying to pop off, acting real, but we could do real damn good," sort of describing how the friend group could really change things for them. The song ends with another interlude where it's a phone conversation where one of Chris's friends asks him when he's moving back to Jersey, and Chris abruptly kind of ends the topic and switches with just transitioning with going over and over, we going over and over, we going infinity like the sea. There's a universe all inside me. Yin and yang, it's black and white, it's flowing out of sight, it's out of mind. I'm going crazy, why oh me? This track is about repetition and synchronicity and growing up in your hometown. The track itself is repetitive with the lyrics and the production being generally short loops and with lines such as up, down, and over kind of being repeated a lot. This track was made in collaboration with another artist, Frank Jeff C, who was a big inspiration / mentor to Chris, and who was an inspiration for a lot of other young artists at the time, such as Nothing But Lag, who he made a few tracks with, and people like Matt Watson, and at one point, me, when I decided to make music that generally was with shorter, simpler loops, and throughout the song there's just general symbolization of the constant flow and eternity, like in Frank's verse with infinity in the sea, yin and yang, and Frank repeating over and over again, over and over and over again. Jeez, why did I type that so many times? Chris's verse is about how he grew up watching Frank JFC playing Smash and writing papers and rain checking his friends and make the best of all the time he's wasted. But even now, even though he thinks he's out of that circle, with lines such as "and over finds its way back to you," sort of being like how we'll never be out of that loop with repetition and the daily routine and life still mimicking that cycle in a way. The song takes a strange turn in the second half that I kind of enjoy, where it's just sort of Frank introducing some kind of ad break where they sing about cereal for a while. And it's hard to kind of dissect the meaning in all of this because it's just them talking about cereal. And in the Genius page, there is no kind of like annotations for anything. I like to think this is sort of like a thing where Chris is like trying to say in a way that not every song has to have like a deep meaning, even though it's nice when tracks link together in a theme. Kind of like the Elton John song Solar Prestige Gamon, where when interviewed, Elton John said he was getting really tired of people just trying to dissect any kind of meaning from his songs that he was just making to keep the lights on. And so he kind of just put a bunch of gibberish into a song and made it sound good, showing people that you don't have to find a meaning in all of it. And unlike the other tracks, this song doesn't end with any kind of like interlude or like interjection into the end.
This is the part where you let me go. Don't even know who you are. Well, sayonara, au revoir. Yeah, I hope this makes you hurt, cause it's my hypersonic crowbar of the heart. I'm prying myself open.
This track, Hypersonic Crowbar of the Heart, continues to be one of my favorite tracks from Chris. I've always just kind of liked the lyrics and the production itself, with having more of like a synth sort of heavy. I like the bass line in it a lot, but it's just a banger through and through. And a fun little note, when I was in the car, I played it to this Chris Raygun looking Nakey Jakey clone over here, and he said it sounds like a sad Beastie Boys track. Joke's on you, I love the Beastie Boys. Fuck you. Just kidding, though. He's right here. Subscribe to his channel. I'm gonna do this for a minute. You know what? Fuck it. I just wanted to preface that before I jumped into this track, and that I am incredibly biased on this one. And this one track alone. What if I just made videos like this? No background, just all the face. He starts off with the track with describing how he isn't going to put up with this person's bullshit anymore. I have a feeling this is either the person or a connection to someone from Ankle Socks, Caffeine, or Sugar by the Sand. Or it could be simply just a metaphor of Chris growing and noticing red flags in situations such as those. Chris is also here describing his growth and how he's seeing himself in a much better light, with lines such as teeth's white, skin clear, and how he's growing out his hair. He then describes himself as being beat up while keeping a smile on, sort of showing maturity that even though a situation's rough, he can stand up and get back to what he was doing. The bridge in this song is sort of like a slower melody where Chris talks about, "This is the part where you let me go, you don't even know who you are," describing how he's either him or the person in mention is sort of just forgetting about him and how they're letting go. He then gives a not so tearful farewell to this person by saying, "Well, sayonara, au revoir. I hope this makes you hurt because it's my hypersonic crowbar of the heart." Later in the chorus, he says he's opening himself up more and how he's sick of hiding himself all the time and how he knows he's going to hurt, but he knows it's important by saying lines such as, "I'm prying myself open, I want to see the sun," and prying's painful, but pain is half the fun. He opens the second verse with him talking about how he was afraid of people for seeing him for who he was, but now he has a newfound confidence, symbolizing it with lines such as, well, now I've got so much bravado, I'm a pair of motherfuckers, C and B. He then goes on to describe about how he doesn't need fame or success to be himself, and then he calls back with the line, got my crowbar on the hand of the Casio calc, just kind of referencing back to Casio calculator watch. This song closes with what seems to be his father or another father figure telling him the advice, where I come from, one door closes and another one opens, and you kick the other one open. Move forward, son.
Joy is coming, please believe. This time you need to clean, 'cause growth is messy. No, I gotta.
This track seems to be dedicated to the growth he's gone through the years and sort of through the process of making the album, and helping sort of condense the theme of the album into one track right before the closer. In the first verse, he seems to describe himself as stubborn from the perspective of someone close to him by calling him the nickname Mudge, and this person describing to him how he won't budge. But there's a light at the end of the tunnel and he needs to clean up the mess that he's left behind. The chorus describes how the paper don't mean nothing to you and how you need to keep on the move, showing his determination in following his dreams, not for the money, but more so for just making music and making his family proud, and how he now has a grad cap, sort of symbolizing the maturity he's gone through and overall growth. In the second verse, he describes the expectations he's given himself with lines such as, I'm living under someone's knife, and how you'll never be satisfied with the bar we've set so high. I personally relate to this message a lot because I always give myself too high of expectations, even in stuff like this video, where I've started writing this, like, hold on, let me see what I first DM'd Chris asking if I could use stuff from this video at the beginning of this month, around May 2nd of 2021. And how I told him I was going to write the video, and how I've just described to him how I've always wanted to make videos for a while. And I started writing the script a few weeks ago, and I finished writing the script a few days after that because I was in quarantine, and I think my quarantine ended around May 9th or somewhere in that time frame. And I'm not recording the video until right now, May 23rd. How I just keep postponing things. I have always wanted to make videos since I was in 8th grade. I had made a bunch of videos with friends, and then growing up, I continued to make videos with friends, and I always viewed those each time I moved up as everything below it was worthless, and just how no matter what I make, I'll eventually see it as at some point worthless. But I'm 21 now. I need to just put my nose to the grindstone and keep moving and quit setting myself up for so many expectations. And a lot of the stuff I have made recently is in a group setting because I feel like I have like an obligation to finish it, or I'll let those people down, or I have them to sort of back me up and be like, hey, make this video. And I still consider video editing my passion when I've only really made this being my second solo video where I'm not doing my own thing. And I always push things back to, like, I'll say, oh, I'll make a video when I have a camera. Or right now, the thing I'm using is, well, when I get a better computer, I can make gaming videos and it'll be a lot easier. When in reality, I'm just postponing it further and further. Rain checking, as you will, with this Hi, I'm Chris video. Without a good way to transition, we look into the outro of the song, where he again calls back to the opening track.
The shackles of boxes boxes and wires. She talked to my baby.
In the interlude, this song ends with an interlude where you hear a voice saying, "Let's try that one more time." Probably Chris symbolizing where he would kind of make something, kind of not see it as satisfactory or living up to the expectations, and him saying, "Let's try it again." Resetting himself in that situation. Whoops. The closer of the album ties the theme of maturing and growing as a person with all the tie-ins with other songs. The best way I think to convey this song would just be to have the track playing and have you experience it for yourself, because who better to describe the whole thing than Chris himself. And so here's the ending, here's the closer track, and I'm just going to be putting sort of at the bottom, whenever he references a song referencing a stage in his life, I will put which track it is on the bottom. And I just wanted to say thank you for watching the video. I don't upload a whole lot, but I try to put a lot of effort into the videos that I do upload, whether it be stuff on my whether it be the stuff that I do for my friends, the channels I have with my friends, or hopefully later on this channel. And because this is my first scripted video, I feel like it needed to have some time in the oven. Too much time, if you ask me. I wrote this like weeks ago, like a week or so ago. Thank you again, and enjoy the song, and I hope you enjoyed my analysis or review, or whatever the fuck you want to call this video. Bonsoir. Adiamen.
Well, let's start a podcast. And if it's bad, that's half the fun. And nobody will listen to it but us. No fuss. Mudgie needs a haircut, but today he's gonna make it work. Sun is burning everything, so grab your shit and come over. Shoes are optional and your ankle socks are fine. I've been running so and we can grab a coffee, kick our feet up, shoot the breeze and unwind. Let's go to Coney Island. Overpriced dogs on me. We can watch the sun set over the beach while chili dribbles down your shirt. Lemonade and Twilight works for me. On our one day off, recalibrate my Casio. Watching the game will go off and I'll have some nice time. Times like this I realize I just wanna lose track of mine. The world is getting scary, but together we can carry a tune from the heart and grow. Like a sonic crowbar of the. So hi, I'm Chris and that's it. I ain't fully grown yet, I'm working on it. With a beard on my chin and some love in my heart. Yeah, we're playing the feud and I know we'll win. This game is cold, but I learned I'm not alone. I got out of my head, trust me. I love you more than you know. Together we'll grow and this is the foundation. Mud lies in Mudgie. What's in a name? What is my game? What is my aim? Yeah, my name is Mudgie. Bye. I'm Chris.